Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of my Genealogy Live interviews. A little over half. And obviously, I know typically it'd be done on a Saturday, but some things just need to be rearranged for this one, which is fine. So my guest tonight is treasured founder and CEO and tech entrepreneur, Vito Giovanetti. So, hello, Vito.
Hey, Daniel. How's it going? Nice to see you again.
Same to you. I must say, now the tables have turned in a way.
I love it. Thank you for having me.
For those of you watching who don't know, I was Vito interviewed me, and that was my first kind of live interview ever. So it's now been changed a little. So I will link that in the YouTube description when I do eventually post this, so you can watch it there if you haven't already. So let's get into it. So for those of you who might know Vito, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's great to be here today for your Genealogy Live interviews. Been following along, and I hope your audience enjoys our episode today. For those that haven't seen or come across me before online, my name is Vito Giovanetti. I am a tech entrepreneur based here in Canada, and I have a strong passion for family history and storytelling. And that's really the essence that and the fabric that makes up the company that we're building, Treasured, which is really a platform to help cultural storytellers preserve their history through interactive 3D museums. So I'm excited to dive into that a little bit later, but let's get into the genealogy.
Fair enough. And before we do actually get into it, am I right in saying that you've actually been featured in quite a few newspapers or news outlets for a recent project of yours?
Yeah, absolutely. Treasured, our first debut 3D museum, the Museum of American War Letters, was featured in the New York Times, on CBS Evening News, La Repubblica in Italy, and the Globe and Mail here in Canada, talking about how our company and our platform is creating a place for organizations who've been negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. So yeah, it's been great to receive some support from the media, obviously, and create more awareness about what we're doing. But the past 2 weeks have been quite busy, to say the least.
I can imagine, with the fact that, you know, the publicity that you got and the wide outlets throughout the world, you've gotten quite a bit of, you know, traffic to your site. I can probably guess, but no, it's good, because when you did find, whenever it was, I don't know the exact date, but probably it was before September anyway, 2020, before that. What was it, 19? I keep forgetting. Anyway, but I didn't. There are a lot of people I've noticed that sort of like come and go, and so like not everyone stays around. Like some people are kind of going like, "Oh, I'm really into this," and then, you know, the account dies after a while in a way. And I followed along, and kind of, you know, I kind of got the feeling more and more and more this is something that you don't typically see, and I was right, because, you know, the bit that you've kind of introduced in the kind of, and how you've introduced it, in the sense that, you know, what it can do, and, you know, what it can allow others to do as well, is quite remarkable, in the sense that obviously there isn't anything like it. And obviously, like you said, it's gotten quite a bit of, you know, publicity for what it's capable of, because obviously, you know, your museums and galleries or whatever actually using that to, you know, have their own gallery and thing for them. So yeah, it is definitely something I think is, you know, dominated the market in that.
Awesome. I think we're back now. We just got cut off for a little second there. Yeah.
Yeah. And hope that they can. It went a few minutes before we, but last. So anyway, what started it all off? got you into genealogy?
Yeah, great question. Genealogy and my passion for family history really started with a close connection with my grandparents. I'm named after both my grandfathers, and I have a very close relationship with my grandmother. And hearing their stories of immigration and their life in North America and the histories of our families prior to them was really, the beacon of inspiration for me to learn more and to understand my roots and where I came from, and the sacrifices that were made along the way for me to make the impact and, achieve my dreams that I've always shot for. So, it was really like trying to learn more about my family, and really that was inspired by my grandparents, who were able to pass down these stories or give clues that there was more to discover. And I've been left with some of those relics that have opened up unbelievable doors in terms of the stories in my family. So that's what really got it started, is my close relationship to my grandparents, my Italian grandparents.
Right. And is your heritage kind of, is it kind of, Italian, something else mixed in with it?
So you
So
cut out there.
like,
You cut out there a little bit, but what I
yeah,
understood is my heritage mixed with anything else? As far as we can
yeah,
see, it's several generations Italian on both sides of my family. So moving to my family moving to Canada, it was sort of the first time any ancestors had left their native land.
right. Fair enough. So what resources have you found most helpful in your research? If you do get the time, do your own research nowadays?
Yeah, I would say, like most people, right? Public records, local organizations that my, grandparents were affiliated with, places of work that they were involved with when they were first starting their lives here. And then also, the actual records that my grandparents left behind. So, one of my grandfathers spent several years developing a family tree that preceded even the creation of Ancestry. And some of the information in there has been really helpful in terms of understanding how everyone in the family is connected and who to go to for certain insights about family members. And yeah, really that's it really started with a hybrid of things, like my actual family's records, public records, things that I could search online in various databases that are, many of which are free, depending on what account or where you're searching. So, yeah, basically, I like a hybrid of approaches in research, and I always think like my favorite is probably having just like genuinely raw conversations with family members who have a strong memory about the past and about stories that were handed down to them, and that really helps to build on my genealogy, my understanding of my family history. We may have lost Daniel, but I know he has got a few other questions. One of them is, what project or venture are you currently pursuing? For those that are just kind of stepping in right now, the company that I'm building is called Treasured. I'm building it with my co-founder and CTO, Nikita Verabe. You can find us on Twitter at Treasured Team. And really, we are inspired by the intersection of technology and storytelling to help preserve history. But we wanted to fill a gap that was happening with older and younger generations around these stories. And as a result, we innovated and debuted at Roots Tech 2020 in the Global Innovation Showcase with Ancestry and Find My Past and other leaders across the world, we debuted Treasured, the first ever 3D family museum. And that was a wonderful opportunity for us to acquire our first customers and work closely with them throughout the pandemic. And during the pandemic, we had to heed the call of many heritage organizations who were struggling to publish online content and build up their online audiences, whether that's a museum, a local gallery, historical society, or a local genealogy society or club. Our platform is a means for them to publish content easily and affordably and accessibly to their audience. And really enabling these organizations to do that has allowed them to make an even greater impact by extending the limitations of their physical space and creating a 3D space in the web browser that's uniquely designed for them and for their collections. So really, Treasured is a platform for organizing your stories and showcasing them. And hopefully when Daniel returns here, we can get a little bit more into some of the success stories that the company has experienced. Awesome. While we're waiting for Daniel, I'm just looking at the next question, which is I'll read it, which is there anything that /learned now that you wish you knew at the start of your genealogy journey? Yeah, I wish I knew that brick walls and blockages along the way were an inevitability. Sometimes when you're finding so much good information, you feel like it's going to be a never-ending flow of content. But sometimes you do hit a block, and you just got to embrace that block. And you're not alone in that block or in that brick wall, as it's commonly referred to. But, there are people around that are experts that do research that might find connections to your story or to the clues that you're looking for, and, to lean on them and lean on the community. Every genealogist has a local or, family historian has a local historical society or genealogy society that holds records. Become a member, connect with people that are there. Those are some, tips that I wish I knew when I was first starting out. But nonetheless, sometimes genealogy can be very arduous. So, to stay patient and, just to stay optimistic as well. Daniel's next question is, what aspect of genealogy do you love the most? Whether it be finding old photos, seeing records, finding mentions of ancestors in newspapers. I would say there's nothing extremely in particular that I love about genealogy the most. I definitely love the visualizations of family trees once you're done, the work. And researching and connecting all the dots. But I think for me is just seeing across all of these different platforms, these little footprints of my ancestors and the perceptions of them along the way. And it really helps to tell an inspiring story of what's possible under all sorts of circumstances. Each person is, gifted their own set of challenges and opportunities in their life. So just understanding how ancestors had gone through their own life to achieve their goals and make an impact on their family and descendants to come. So, I'm really big on the stories part and reading about them or having a conversation with a relative that knows more than me. And just trying to, share in that as much as I possibly can with the rest of my family, especially younger members of it. What's an interesting story / event that you discovered about your ancestors? All right, that's a pretty good question. My great uncle, his name was Monsignor Alberto Maria Giovannetti. He was the permanent observer of the United Nations representing the Vatican. And as a diplomat, he had, many interactions with world-renowned leaders, educators, and basically Monsignor Albert Giovanetti also became the personal confidant of Jacqueline Kennedy. So that would possibly, be one of my favorite stories of my ancestors that I discovered, is that my great uncle and Jacqueline Kennedy had some back and forth written letters over some critical parts of her life. So to bring Daniel back into the mix, I've just been really continuing with the flow of questions, and was just kind of diving in there on an interesting story / event I discovered about my ancestors. So if you'd like,
fair
you can
enough. You
continue
answered
from
some
there.
questions then.
Yeah, I've been kind of just cycling through while you were away.
Well, props to you for keeping going, because my thing just went twice in the last 5 minutes, and we're 15 minutes in. So, what projects? This is probably an obvious question, but what projects or ventures are you currently pursuing?
Great. Yeah. So I kind of answered a question, that question around Treasured, and sort of what we're building, a place for anybody to make a 3D space to tell their story. But that's with Treasured. But I'm also working on a conference. It's a 2021 Ontario Genealogical Societies conference. You can visit it at www.ogs.on.ca/conference. And it's happening on June 4th to June 6th. It'll be an amazing opportunity for anybody to dial into 2 streams, Saturday and Sunday. There's also an Ancestry Day on the Friday of that weekend. And as a co-chair, I'm leading sort of more of the technology pieces. We have hundreds of people signed up and registered and paid already. And yeah, so I'm really excited about that. Project's happening in a couple months. So
when is that happening? What month? Or
June 4th to June 6th.
fair enough. So if anyone wants more genealogy related, June's busy for genealogy. Obviously you have Genealogy Giovannetti, so there's quite a bit happening in June. And obviously Gen Z Genealogy, the Hidden Branches shows happening in August. But obviously, and anyone that wants to know more about that can go to thehiddenbranch.com/Gen Z Genealogy. We forgot to announce that, but that's on me. Anyway, so is there anything that you now know that you wish you learned when you started?
Yeah, so I gave a little answer to that question too, which is just you're not alone, basically. Brick walls are bound to happen, and really to rely on other people, your community, the organizations that are in your region to learn more about your family. So sort of a little summary of it.
Fair enough. So, have you done the aspect one? This doesn't look at all professionally asking me about specific questions. So what aspects of genealogy do you love the most? For example, like finding old photos, seeing records, newspapers about them, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I also sort of mentioned this as well. For me, it's talking to relatives. It's the actual reading the long-winded stories. It's going into the personal archives, if you will, of family members to understand like what they valued, what they kept, what they didn't. So I think really that human to human interaction is my favorite piece.
Right. Now, I know you did the next one because I joined back in when you were answering it, which is fine. Go, by all means, do. So what type of record do you like most and why?
Yeah, I kind of alluded as well. Like I like sort of, in my family, my grandfather had been starting this like genealogical research several decades before family trees became a big thing. So I have like this like insane family tree that dates back like pretty much as far as you could possibly go in Italy. And he printed like I don't even know, 100 copies of this family tree. So that's probably my like favorite record like that our family has and stuff.
And how far does it go back? Because if it's Ireland, if you can get back to 1830s and 40s, you're done well.
Yeah, it goes back. I don't know the exact date. I think my sister had corrected me once on the original date. It's pretty far back. I think it's like, I might be mistaken, but I think it's before 1800.
Right. So better than Ireland.
Yeah.
Totally not envious. Anyway, so what does genealogy mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. Obviously, to many, it means like research, and it means countless hours in front of the computer and late nights connecting and messaging and following up on leads. So it means like all of those things to me. But it also, I think at its core, like genealogy is about the human connection, right? Is that this idea that everyone's lines form and come from the same place. So, we're all sort of relatives of each other in one way or another. And I think like that's the beauty of the human connection piece, is that each person has their own story that can relate or complement somebody else's. And it's really fun to sort of, experience storytelling in groups and be able to have somebody that, and have a community of people that you can share in the celebration of these legacies with. And so I think it's about community, it's about the human connection, and it's about learning new things.
Find you. God. Okay.
You're back.
I hate technology. So say, oh no, please don't.
You're back. You're back.
Oh god, I'm scared now because I have a feeling that's going to go any minute now. So while I'm fretting about this, where can they find you or Treasured?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find Treasured at www.treasured.ca. And anybody that follows up, please feel free to sign up and create an account and play around. Treasured's more than happy to support and offer a little bit of a referral to anybody that mentions that they came from Daniel's Genealogy Live. So you can find us at treasured.ca, but you can also find us at Treasured Team on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find me at Vito Giovanetti. My name's a little bit long, but I think if you go to at Treasured Team, you'll end up finding me somehow. So yeah, those are the two primary places. I mean, I'm more active on Twitter, but Instagram is another great place.
Yeah, absolutely. And on to the kind of more, current things as such. What advice would you give to a young person starting out in genealogy?
Yeah, it's a great question. The first thing I would say is like, don't be intimidated. You don't necessarily need a degree in research or in literature or in English or in any subject matter for that to really start and put together some of the pieces of your family's history. It can start with a simple conversation with your grandmother to understand who she really is before you were born, and what her life was like and what sacrifices she had to go through. Typically, that's like was a spark in the fire for me to learn just from somebody so close to me. So my general advice is don't create barriers for yourself. Just get your feet wet and start asking questions to people that are close to you. And also there's just so many resources online, right? Like not just platform resources, but great people resources like you, Daniel, and other amazing genealogists online that offer their services to help people, overcome brick walls or dive deeper into their family history.
Hmm. Fair enough. Now, obviously, this is in your own opinion for this one. Do you believe that there are kind of like sufficient outlets or places for young genealogists to communicate, collaborate, that sort of thing?
I mean, I would say like many of these like young, passionate genealogists, we all congregate on the internet, whether it's like on Twitter threads or certain designated times during the day where people do genealogy. So I feel like the community is really like, accommodated themselves in creating deeper relationships with each other. I think many organizations are geared at, connecting people through like their trees and through the information that they put in and the data that they submit to these organizations. And that helps, people form new relationships. But in terms of actually like funding or like granting young researchers the opportunity to dive deeper into their regional history or their family's history, it's really driven by, I think, the individual to make a case for themselves that, they have a particular approach or a particular network that they've established to be able to warrant some of this community support. So I think I think there's ultimately more that organizations can do to accommodate for young researchers, whether that be, free access to their software, resources for them to learn more about how to do genealogy better, more call to actions at online conferences to congregate passionate young researchers and genealogists. So I think there's some ideas there, but really like one of the things is like the medium, right? Is like a lot of people are using social media. So, we've seen a big sort of rise of family history on TikTok through family story time, the hashtag. So, you can do research, pretty quickly. And I think there's new mediums that are being sort of born that are making it easier for younger generations to get involved in their family history and want to like care and explore about it.
And for anyone that knows me, I am not on TikTok. Like, I am it's not my type because platform. Like, sure, it will be for some people will enjoy it, but not necessarily for me. And what's down the line for Treasured? Can you tell us anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as I mentioned, Treasured is working with museums and heritage organizations to bring some of their physical collections online in a nice, organized, and accessible format with no sign-in required. That's what we're doing right now. But where we're going is sort of a place for any organization, any family historian to be able to subscribe to our preferred plan and get access to a 3D space that they can really make their own with their content. And then they can publish that 3D space and share that to family members to go on a guided tour, on a set guided tour of what you want them to explore, what artifacts you want them to come across. So we're really excited about releasing a part of the Treasured platform this summer that will make it easy for the average individual to go on, upload their photos and stories, and be able to place those photos and stories in a 3D space and set a guided tour around that. So we're really excited about that. There are platforms that have aspects of these, making 3D spaces. But what Treasured's really excelling in is the accessibility of our story editor or our word processing tool, which is accessible to pretty much anybody to try out and get started.
Fair enough. And if anyone has any questions for Vito, please do stick them in now. I probably should have said that earlier, seeing as I was getting to the end of my questions. I typically do that, but my mind's been focused on the internet more than that. But I don't think we have any questions coming in. So I think with that, we shall end. So thank you, everyone, for watching. And thank you to Vito for powering on while I wasn't here for 5 to 10 minutes of it. Sorting out Wi-Fi problems. So well done to you for powering on and taking questions and just carrying on and not waiting. And I think with that, we shall end. So see you next week, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great time.